Jagdishpur Palace, located in the Bhojpur district of Bihar, is a historic structure with a storied past. Once the residence of Veer Kunwar Singh, a prominent figure in the Indian Rebellion of 1857, the palace is steeped in history and has witnessed the rise and fall of empires. However, alongside its historical significance, the palace is also surrounded by tales of paranormal activity, which locals and visitors alike claim have created an eerie and unsettling atmosphere in and around the palace grounds. The haunted history of Jagdishpur Palace. Veer Kunwar Singh was a freedom fighter who led one of the most successful rebellions against British rule in the mid-19th century. After his death, the palace slowly fell into decline, with much of its former grandeur crumbling over the years. As the palace deteriorated, so did the stories of its haunting, with many believing that the spirits of Kunwar Singh and those who fought alongside him continued to roam the grounds. Locals often speak of the battle cries of long-dead soldiers echoing through the palace ruins, especially on dark, stormy nights. The palace is said to be particularly active around the anniversary of Kunwar Singh's death. Villagers claim to hear the sounds of clashing swords, gunfire, and shouts of rebellion, as if the ghosts of the past are reliving their final moments in the battle against the British. Some believe that the souls of the warriors who were killed in the battle remain bound to the palace, unable to move on due to the unfinished nature of their struggle. The mysterious disappearances and frightening encounters. In recent years, there have been several reports of people who visited Jagdishpur Palace after dark, only to experience strange and terrifying phenomena. Many locals warn outsiders not to visit the palace at night, as there have been mysterious disappearances and inexplicable injuries reported by those who ventured there after sunset. One of the most chilling stories involves a group of young men from a nearby village who decided to explore the palace at night, ignoring the warnings of the locals. They entered the palace grounds after midnight, armed with torches and a sense of adventure. According to their account, they initially felt a deep sense of unease as they wandered through the overgrown courtyards and darkened hallways. The air was thick with silence, and the palace seemed to loom over them like a dark, oppressive presence. As they reached one of the inner chambers, they began to hear whispers, though none of them could determine where the sound was coming from. The whispers grew louder and more insistent, filling the air with what sounded like pleas for help and mournful cries. Terrified, the group tried to leave, but the air had grown so cold that they could see their breath in front of them, despite it being the height of summer. Suddenly, one of the men claimed to have seen a figure standing in the doorway, a shadowy silhouette dressed in what appeared to be ancient warrior attire. The figure did not move or speak but simply stood there, watching them. Panicked, the group attempted to flee, but in the chaos, one of the men fell and hurt his leg, leaving him unable to walk. As they helped their injured friend out of the palace, they heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps following them, even though no one else was there. The men claimed that the footsteps grew louder and faster as they neared the palace gates, as if something was chasing them. They finally managed to escape, but they swore that they could still feel cold hands grasping at their shoulders as they ran. The injured man later recounted that as he fell, he had seen multiple figures emerging from the shadows, their faces twisted in agony. He believed that these were the spirits of soldiers who had died defending the palace, still trapped in the physical world and desperate for release. Since that night, the group has refused to return to Jagdishpur Palace, convinced that something malevolent lurks within its ruins. The Lady in White, a ghostly apparition. Another common story told by locals is that of a woman dressed in white, often seen wandering the grounds of the palace at night. According to legend, she is the spirit of a young bride who was once a member of Kunwar Singh's family. On the night of her wedding, tragedy struck, and she was either killed by invading soldiers or died in mysterious circumstances. Those who have seen the Lady in White describe her as a pale, sorrowful figure who roams the courtyards, seemingly searching for something or someone. She is often seen near the entrance of the palace, where she is said to suddenly disappear into thin air. Her presence is always accompanied by a chill in the air, and witnesses claim to feel an overwhelming sense of sadness and despair when they see her. One particularly unnerving encounter involved a security guard who was stationed at the palace. He claimed that late one night, while patrolling the grounds, he saw a woman standing near the palace gates, staring out into the darkness. Thinking she was lost, he approached her to offer help, but as he drew closer, the woman vanished before his eyes. Shocked, the guard immediately left his post and refused to return to the palace. He later said that he felt as though he had encountered something not of this world, and he was convinced that the woman in white was a ghost. Strange lights and unexplained sounds. Other visitors to Jagdishpur Palace have reported seeing strange lights flickering inside the palace after dark. These lights are said to appear in the windows of the abandoned structure, glowing faintly for a few moments before disappearing. Some believe that these lights are the result of supernatural activity, possibly the spirits of Kanwar Singh and his soldiers still haunting the palace. Others suggest that the lights are the remnants of the fires lit by the British during their attack on the palace, replaying over and over again like a residual haunting. There have also been numerous reports of strange sounds coming from within the palace, particularly late at night. These sounds include the clanking of metal, as though swords are being drawn and armor is being donned, and the faint echoes of voices, as though people are engaged in a heated discussion or preparing for battle. Those who have heard these sounds claim that they seem to come from nowhere, filling the air with an inexplicable sense of urgency and tension. Conclusion: a palace shrouded in mystery and fear. The Jagdishpur Palace stands as a reminder of Bihar's rich history, but it is also a place where the line between the past and the present seems to blur. The stories of ghostly soldiers, tragic brides, and unseen presences continue to haunt the local population, with many villagers refusing to go near the palace after dark. Whether these tales are rooted in fact or fueled by local legend, the eerie atmosphere of Jagdishpur Palace is undeniable, and it remains a place of intrigue and fear for those who dare to explore its haunted halls.